Bienvenidas, bienvenidos, bienvenides a este espacio llamado R+. Mi nombre es Roberto García y estamos enlazados con una música, un artista estadounidense bastante interesante que está ahora en un proceso cercano a lanzar una canción bastante interesante, profunda, con muchas capas en cuanto a sus reflexiones, en cuanto a las emociones y la experiencia que narra. Y justamente estamos enlazados con Anna Main, así que permítanme darle la bienvenida a este espacio. Anna, welcome to this podcast to Art Plus. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Roberto. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Let me start with the new song "Crying at the Erewhon." I think I'm mispronouncing the place, but
No, you got it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a weird word.
it's a really interesting song. I really love a lot of layers of the reflection, but also the experience, also the emotions. It has a lot of um, dots that you can connect in a really complex way, but also it's a really
Oh,
easygoing song in terms of
yeah.
you can experience the song as a one piece, the 6 7 minute song. But what I know for the information that shared with us, it comes from a very personal experience. At what moment did you realize that story, that experience, need to become a song?
Yeah, so yeah, it came about. I got dumped at a grocery store chain called Erewhon in Los Angeles. And I was having a great day and I got the text that I was broken up with and I just started crying in Erewhon. And if you look at my past work, I've written a lot of songs about breakups. Like most of my songs are about that type of thing. And I think I didn't realize I was kind of like, oh, this is interesting and this is kind of funny. And I'm surrounded by all of these like really nice like luxury items and these like, symbols of perfection and symbols of like, you know, Los Angeles culture. Everything's great, everything's perfect. And then to have this like very real moment, it just to me felt funny. It was a hard day, but I took a walk and then at the end of the day I was like, okay, like I think this is a song. If it's anything, there's a song here. And so it was over time, like I flew cross country the next day and like I started writing it on the plane. It was like one of the roughest plane rides of my life. And I think, like I'm in my 30s and when you go through a lot, you reach this point where you're kind of like, well, I could write something really sad, but I've already done that. Or I could flip this and turn this into like somehow a positive experience or something funny, something sarcastic, something lighthearted. So that was kind of where I was going. I think you reach a place where you're like, all right, I got to do something different here. And that was this song. So,
Uh, I, I don't know if it's a particular process with this song into your songwriting process in this song, but when you write from a personal experience, a deep, a hard one, even some kind of pain,
yeah.
during the whole process of recording, writing, arrangement, and the whole process of a song, you
Oh,
have to come back to that experience. You have to come back with that
oh,
emotions. I think it could be totally exhausted, but how you deal with those emotions, come back with that thing, with that emotions, and also work in a
mm.
really interesting song, how you manage all those process and emotions.
Oh, that's a cool. I like that question a lot. Yeah. Um, I talked about this with a friend one time. Like, sometimes like going through something hard, a breakup, whatever, is different for musicians because when you have a song, you're carrying that song like your whole life. And, I perform a lot. And so you're kind of revisiting a lot of trauma and a lot of difficult things. But I do think over time, what's cool about a song is like it starts from this one place that's very difficult or very, complex. And over time, like it becomes yours and it becomes something that you created. And it really does end up being distant from the initial experience. Like I have a lot of songs like that I wrote like 10 years ago, like probably in like the, worst chapter of my life. And now like they're things that I love because they're these things that I made that I get to play. And I think a lot of my music, I try to have a silver lining in anything that comes from trauma. I want it to be like the light at the end of the tunnel for people. Like, you know, we're dealing with these heavy emotions, we're going through it. But like that's how you process anything that you go through, right? Like you have to revisit it, you have to expose yourself to it. And that's the only way. It's like exposure therapy, and you get past it. But I love, you know, I would say like to anyone, I think songwriting is just a great thing because you have this ability to like reclaim the story and create something totally new out of like something that was dissatisfying or just didn't end the way you wanted it to. And like with Crying in Erewhon, I just feel so distant from the person that it's written about, but you know, you kind of develop this like autopilot where I don't think you're reliving it. It's funny how live performance works, but you can get into this like this cycle where you're not feeling every little thing all the time in the song, but it's also kind of nice because like I have songs about people that I definitely, you know, don't see anymore, but you can kind of come back to like also the good stuff in the songs, and it's a real gift, you know, with songs. I'm really happy about that.
One aspect, one of many aspects, of course, that I think it's really interesting about this song is the way the storytelling or the narrative of the song put the audience put in a particular place, in a particular context, even if you don't have any idea of what is the Erewhon market, or even if you've never been in LA. How important is in particular in this song, this context, this place, and of course Los Angeles as a character in the song.
Yeah, I mean, definitely LA is a big part of it. And what's been interesting with this, like I travel a lot. I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm not from LA. And I've, you know, I've had this song for a long time, so I've been playing it in a lot of different places. And I've played it, you know, in like a bar room in Connecticut, and I've played it in LA. I've even played it like in Northern California. And yeah, so like a lot of people, there are definitely some people who know what Erewhon is, and it's kind of this symbol of like aspirational culture, wellness, you know, like anything you could possibly want in the wellness realm is at Erewhon. And but for people who don't know what it is, I think what's cool about the song is it has this level of intrigue, like, well, what is that? Like, what's that word? What is Erewhon? And what's been really cool is that people have latched onto it, like, you know, in the UK or in Italy. Like, I'm getting, you know, kind of like response from different countries, which is cool. And I kind of really, you know, writing it, I thought it was just going to be this like LA thing, this LA centric thing, like, oh, if you know, you know, like this is, you know, the cool thing, the cool kids club kind of thing. And it hasn't been like that. It's been very like universal. And I think that shows me that, you know, the song has something about it that is beyond like the specificity of a grocery store, and that it is universal. So I think that was something I wasn't sure about. Like I've played it, you know, sometimes, and I'm like, oh, is this just like too obscure? Like maybe people have no idea what I'm talking about. And but that's cool. Like, you know, you're in Mexico City and like you're, you know, resonating with it too. So I think songs are tricky. Like I think it's fun to have those little specific things. Once went to like a songwriting workshop at Conn College where my dad is a professor, and Roseanne Cash gave this like really intimate workshop. It was so cool. And she was saying that songs have to have furniture. And I always think about that, like, you know, furniture being like the details or just like the really unusual aspects in a song, the kind of like dichotomies and the kind of like just nuances that make a song really great. And I think of like my favorite songs, like they all kind of have that, you know, like an unusual part or piece. And I think it's just really cracking into like finding what that is that's going to set a song apart. But I always carry that when I'm writing a song, like where's the furniture? Where are the things to add to this and to really refine it? And but yeah, it's a fine line, you know, like songs have to be universal, but I think specific stuff is good too. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Came to my mind the idea that Ted Gioia, this journalist, jazz journalist, said that there is not a simple love song or breakup song because always is cross for the context or affect the context, political, economical, or
Yeah,
any way, any ways of affect the reality. And
right.
it's interesting because these kind of places, even if they're looking for this wellness and this perfection,
Yeah,
uh, there are not empathy in those kind of places, and that's
right.
quite interesting.
Yeah, like, there's no amount of status or wealth or wellness or things that we can have that are going to prevent us from being human and crying and feeling emotions. And I think that really was the moment, like the first moment that I felt was like, oh, this is so funny, And why is it funny? Because it's kind of a satire. Like I'm surrounded by this symbol of what we want life to be, but like, we're never going to not feel things, and I just thought it was really cool, at this very kind of like, high stakes relationship and like, oh, it's going to work. And, then you're in a grocery store. It was a really cool arc to write about for sure.
Uh, um, what do you think is the backbone of the song in terms of the core of the song? It's the heartbreak experience, is the expectation experience of that relationship that never or that ends in a
Yeah,
really
never
bad way.
happens.
Exactly. What do you think is because there is a lot of layers of emotions, and in this, what we're talking about the places. But what do you think is the core of the song?
Yeah, thanks for noticing that and saying that. I think it's humor. I think for me, that's what I wanted it to be the whole time. I wanted to write a funny song, and I'm a very sarcastic, person. I think people who know me, like personally, my friends would say the first thing is that I'm funny, and I don't know if that has come out in my recorded music. I think a lot of people who might hear my songs are like, okay, she's that ballad folk singer, but I think I really wanted the core of this song to be like really engaging all the way through and to be something that like you could find the humor and not so much like the devastation. Like my favorite line lyric, I think, is, would you really look that swell if it weren't for all that hair gel? And I was really proud of that line and so many others. I just felt like I wanted it to, yeah, have emotion and have, the empathy, but I, always wanted it to come back to the humor and just reflecting like lighthearted Los Angeles. And I think, being in LA has kind of done that to me, just the sunshine and the culture, and it has kind of affected my songwriting in that it's making it a little bit lighter. Yeah, in the midst of everything, I think humor was the most important.
Even in the song, of course, the other character, it's a really interesting one. But it's not about that person. It's about your experience. How
Yeah.
important is for you to um, said something about the other person, but um, that the personal experience being the center stage in the song.
Yeah, that's a cool question. Yeah. I always think, yeah, songs are about something way more than the person that you write about. It's what you are feeling in the moment and you're tying in. I think for this it was like really satire, humor, and just like a kind of a critique, on some of the things that I see on a daily basis in LA and poking fun at that. But it was it's interesting. I think we use I mean, there's always like a little token of like interest or intrigue when the song is about somebody. And that's definitely been the case with this, and you can use that to your advantage. But I think songs end up really being a reflection of the person who's writing it. And, we use those people or as a catalyst to create something bigger. Um, and I think I kind of am answering that. But yeah, what I really wanted to say was like using the grocery store almost like as a metaphor of this like hunger and um, thing that we want, as a culture, just desire for wealth and status. And I like the final line of the song, which kind of like didn't, I don't know if it really, I want it to kind of hit, but I wander the aisles of Erewhon, and eventually the insatiable hunger goes away. And that kind of is just, that hunger for desire, desire, the next thing, the greed of like culture and society. And so I think, did I kind of answer that a little bit? I think I did an okay job. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's never really about the person. And it's like, sometimes I forget, like I have songs that I wrote when I was young, and, I play them. I'm like, I don't even remember who I wrote this about initially, because it has a deeper meaning now. And it's more about who I was in that moment and growing past that. And yeah, layers.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the song, I feel like a release. You liberate, even if you, I think it is still in the process of that experience. It's quite it's kind of hope, or I don't know what's the correct word, but it's
Thank
kind of
you.
liberate of the emotion or the bad emotions of that experience.
Yeah, for sure. I love the ending. I'm really happy with how that came out. It's kind of this like pseudo bridge sort of thing where I'm talking and I'm doing an echo. And yeah, I think it like sums up the song in a way like, well, it didn't work out. These guys didn't choose me. This guy didn't choose me. And but I'm still okay. And I think that's a thread that I've always wanted to have in my music, that we can traverse all this like melancholic feeling, but we can also find like a bridge to hope. And my friend had said that was something one of the biggest compliments I've gotten is her saying that you are really blending like the hope and despair in your songs. Because for so long, I think in my life, I got a lot of criticism that my songs were too sad. And I feel like as an artist, your job is to really capture the gambit of human experience, and that includes everything. So it can't be all happy or all sad. It really is, that's life, and I think the role of the artist is to harness everything, and yeah, hope and despair at the same time, simultaneously sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
One thing that really resonate with me, at least, when I was reading your bio, it was that idea of the PhD of breakup songs. Because here in Mexico, we really love the drama, the
Yeah.
sadness, all that kind of ideas. Of course, the breakup, the heartbreaking themes. Uh, but can you elaborate that idea? Because it's really interesting in terms that, at least here, we know that the breakup experience, it's part of the relationship, even if we live in a drama really loud, of course, always. But it's interesting idea that the other side of in your place, in your country, uh, I don't know if the correct word, but accept the idea of this experience as a part of something bigger,
That's
even
interesting.
part of the happiness of the a good relationship.
Yeah, yeah, no, and if you look at Latin music, Mexican music, I mean, the beauty is really derived from the sadness. I mean, so much of the emotion, the power of grief, and we have. I have one of my favorite singers, Raul Malo, who just died of the Mavericks, and he was someone that I grew up listening to. My dad would take me to his shows, and um, I think just like I was really influenced by Latin music and the power of those emotions. Just I don't think any culture harnesses that as well as people from Mexico, Argentina, Cuba, and that. So I've always just really resonated with artists like that, and that music. And my time in Argentina, it's passionate, and I think I don't know that American culture. I think, yeah, like we have a culture that writes about love and all the layers and sides of love, but I don't know that we have the same quality of like passion and reverence, almost like for the breakup and for the ending. Because yeah, the ending is a big part of the whole experience. And for me, I think I've had a lot more of the endings than the beginnings or the consistency. And I think it's led to like a unique perspective for me because it's something that I can keep writing about. And I think every ending or breakup is also different. So you have a lot to work with and a lot to live inside of. And I think Americans maybe don't have as rich of an understanding or I guess layer of passion when it comes to that. But I definitely want to channel that because I feel like I've listened to so much music that really harnesses it. I mean, there's definitely artists that I can think of that there's some great American breakup songs for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's part of the whole experience. And I always say that grief is the easiest thing to write about. It's a lot more immediate than joy. I think joy is great to feel, and I think it's less interesting to write about for sure. But grief really challenges you as a person because suddenly, my last song is called Atom Bomb, and that's about the moment that someone breaks up with you, the moment you have to really reevaluate and look at yourself. And I think that's the thing that happens, that like sort of self-evaluation, like you're turning it to yourself and you're having to really restructure. And that's what I find so interesting in writing about just sad things. Because there's a lot there. There's a lot to mine in that moment.
Great. What kind of plans do you have with this song? I don't know if you already played this song in your live performances, but what's in your agenda
Yeah.
about this song?
Yeah, I've been playing it for a long time. The release has been kind of tricky because I wrote it in September. I recorded it at a studio in Rhode Island, and then it's been delayed for a variety of reasons. And we had to put a guitar part on it. So I have been playing it probably since January is when I first started trying it live. And it's going to get released on a record label this summer. So it's again delayed. The release is going to be pushed back about 6 weeks because I was going to release it independently, as you know, this week. And so it's a song that keeps kind of having some interesting mysterious things happen around it, but it's all been good, and it's just kind of like a fun ride to be on to see what the next twist and turn is going to be. And it's kind of generating some buzz in LA, which is cool. I've never had that, in the level of this song, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, once it's released, I have high hopes for it, and I think it really captures like a cultural moment. And even if you're not in Los Angeles, I think you can still appreciate the song and what it might convey. And I think it has, obviously universal themes. And aside from that, I think it's just kind of waiting and seeing what the song will do once people hear it. And we just want to get it out to as many people as we can because I think it's pretty catchy and it's fun. And yeah. Even if you're not even paying attention to like the emotional content of the lyrics, I think you could still have fun with this song. So.
Totally. Yeah, let me say these things in Spanish for the audience.
Yeah.
Pues eso, vayamos a escuchar cuando salga esta canción. Hay que estar al pendiente en las redes sociales de Anna May para justo poder disfrutar de esta canción en plataformas digitales. También tiene un Bandcamp. Estaremos dejando todas esas ligas en la descripción de este podcast para que lo tengan ahí a la mano, y por supuesto estaremos avisando cuando esa canción salga a la luz y la podamos disfrutar. Pero por lo pronto ya lo saben, hay que estar al pendiente de las noticias que tiene Anna May en esas plataformas. Anna, thank you very much for your time, for your
Thank you,
thoughts.
Roberto. Thank you so
And
much.
something
Great
you want
questions.
to add to this conversation?
Oh, I don't think so. I got a little bit of that. I'm trying to pick out some words. No, just yeah. I mean, it's great. I hope to come to Mexico City one day. That would be great. I hear I've not been there, so but everyone tells me it's a wonderful place, arts and music and all of it. So one day, it'll be fun.
Great. Yes. Thank you again for joining us, and this is your casa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.